Bismillah walhamdulillahi wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man walah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to our first class from the Medina Arabic course, Book 1. Tonight, inshallah, we do our fourth lesson, which will be page 10 as far as the book is concerned. As you could see from here, we are still dealing with one lesson which has been spanning this entire section all over, right through. All of this has been one lesson, but we had last just entered into this point of using the word man hadha, who is this? So we are dealing with just expanding upon that point, and this is where he begins. So he starts page 10 out by saying, Ma hadha, what is this? Hadha masjidun, this is a masjid. Man hadha, who is this? Hadha tajirun, this is a businessman. So showing you ma and man, so you can use both of them. Now the word tajirun is a new word to add to your vocab. Tajirun is a place where tijara takes place. So tajirun you can translate as a merchant. You can translate it as a trader. You can translate it as a shopkeeper. You can translate it as a businessman. Whichever one suits your fancy, that's the one you go with. But the word tajir encompasses them all. Then he shows a picture on the left and he says, Hada kalbun. This is a dog. So kalbun, dog. And this on this point, you come to know the importance of proper pronunciation of letters. If your tajweed is not up to par and you are pronouncing your qaf as a kaf, now you're talking about, my kalbi so, bi kalbin salim, and when you are pronouncing a qaf as a kaf, instead of talking about your heart, you're talking about your dog. So proper pronunciation is imperative. I mean, it's not something which is negotiable. It is fard ayn upon every single Muslim to be able to pronounce Arabic correctly. Otherwise, you cannot recite the Quran if your tajweed is not up to par. Any case, so he then shows the next picture. He says, Ahada kalbun, is this a dog? And the reply given is, La hada qittun. Qittun. There's supposed to be a tashdid, a shadda on the ta, but it's missing because of a typo over here. So, hada qittun, this is a cat. Now, what is important to note over here? Kalbun, a male dog. Qittun, a male cat. All the animals we are dealing with at the moment are all masculine. So, we will reach a point of feminines, but for now, everything we do is masculine unless stated otherwise. So, la hada qittun, a cat, kalbun, a dog. Then he shows another picture and he says, hada himarun. Hada himarun. This is a donkey. So a himar is a donkey. Then he shows another picture. This time it's a bit easier to see from the picture, and he says, Ahada himarun. Is this a donkey? And the reply given is, La hada hisanun. No, this is a horse. Hisanun is a horse. Now, in Arabic, horses are a great and noble creature. As a result, there are many words which mean horse. Like there are many words that mean camel, and many words that mean lion. But here, the word that he has chosen to give you is hisanun. Obviously, in the various stages of a horse's life and what it is, the different names will be used. For example, who is there that doesn't know a name like Abbas? Abbas, actually, if you were to look at it, it means frowning. From the word abasa, abasa wa tawalla, he frowned and turned away. So abasa means to frown. Abbas is on the superlative form, a very scowling type. But what is it referring to? It's referring to a scowling lion. So you have many names that are given to certain animals that are held of importance amongst the Arabs. Lions, horses, camels, they are of this type that they have many names. But in any case, we'll do different names as we go along. For now, we focus only on what we are doing. So that was hisanun, which means a horse. And the next one, last one for the page, he says, Wama hadha, and what is this? The reply given is, Hadha jamalun, this is a camel. So jamalun here is a male camel. And that's the end of page 10. Let's move onwards to the next page. The lesson continues. So he shows a picture now. He says, Ma hadha, what is this? Hadha dikun. This is a rooster, not a chicken, a rooster. Because again, remember, we are dealing with masculine only. So dikun, you're not going to translate it as a chicken. They are male and female amongst animals. So a rooster is male, a chicken is female. So therefore, hadha dikun, this is a rooster. There's a different word for chicken, which we will do at a later stage. I'm not throwing things out that we haven't come to make the lesson easy to follow along with. So هذا ديك, this is a rooster. The next one, he shows a picture of a person by a whiteboard, writing with a black cookie on it. So he says, Man hadha, who is this? And the reply given is, Hadha mudarrisun. Hadha mudarrisun. This is a teacher, a male teacher. Obviously, like I say, we will deal with females at a later stage. Just focus on what the book is telling you and you will do well as we go along. So, Hadha mudarrisun. This is a male teacher. And the last one for the lesson, he says, Ahada qamisun. He shows you a picture. He says, Ahada qamisun. Is this a shirt? Obviously, you can see from the picture it's not a shirt. Maybe you don't know what it is because the picture looks a little bit weird. But anyway, the reply given is La hada mindilun. Hada mindilun. This is a handkerchief. So your handkerchief, whatever other name you want to call it by, that is a mindil. And that's the end of the lesson. So on this point here, he moves on to the exercise, which is one last exercise for the purpose of this lesson. And it is actually, we have done class for some total of 6.5 minutes, but we will stop the lesson after this here, inshallah, because the next page begins with a new lesson. And I don't want to jump ahead. I did say in the beginning we would take it at a bit of a slower pace, not to make it too slow, but at the same time, give you time to be able to absorb what has been learned in the lesson thus far, for you to go over it, for you to jot down your vocab, for you to make certain that you've understood the lesson and the laws that we have learned, and then be able to implement everything in the next lesson. So he says here, tamreenun, exercise, and the exercise title is Iqra waktub, read and write. So as you can see, with all of these words, once again, there are no harakat on it, no fatha, kasra, dhamma, anything of the sort. It's wiped clean for the reason, okay. Oh, okay. Read and write. What is the, okay. So the purpose behind all of this is to be able to see, number one, that you can read it with the harakat, despite the fact that there are no harakat on it. So if you're going to be stuck and say, I can't read this word mahada, then obviously you have not been focusing on the words that have passed by. Because if you were looking at the book, we've done ma and we've done hada multiple times. So you are able to recognize it without needing harakat on it. Likewise, hada, it's the same word, qalamun. You're not going to say qilmun, qalimun. You're going to know the word is qalamun. So you've done it. It's in your subconscious. And this is the important part of looking, learning, paying attention, memorizing, and you see things start to take, the pictures start to take effect. So, ma hada, what is this? Hada qalamun, this is a pen. Like this, you start to see each and every one of these words. Every word here we have done before. So he's questioning you on words that you do know. And if you had taken the time and effort putting into your vocab exercises, or at least your vocab homework, then you'll know that by now these are straightforward things that, you have the answer to all of these things. You are able to read them as is. So that's what is being asked of you here. That you look at these things, ma hada, hada qalamun. What is this? This is a pen. Next one, I will read them all because I actually have another appointment happening right now within a couple of minutes. So I don't want to have to cut the class short in case my phone rings. But anyway, so let's just move on. Hada, number 2, Hada kalbun. And yes, the answer which was given is correct. Hada kalbun. This is a dog. Number 3, man hada. Who is this? Hada tabibun. This is a doctor. Since it's our first exercises, I'm doing it for you one time. But obviously, you should be able to look at them yourself and see, okay, I can do this. Okay, I must on this point here, and judge yourself accordingly. That was number 3. Number 4 is Hada jamalun. This is a camel. Number 5, Ahada kalbun. La hada qittun. Is this a dog? No, this is a cat. Number 6, Ahada dikun. Is this a rooster? Naam. Yes. In other words, yes, this is a rooster. And I did touch on this point before that you could answer a question by saying naam, yes, and it would suffice. But for the purpose of being more detailed, you would say na'am hadha dikun. But if you did stop at na'am, absolutely no problem at all. Number 7, ahadha hisanun, is this a horse? La, hadha himarun, no, this is a donkey. Number 8, hadha mindilun, this is a handkerchief. People tend to forget the handkerchief quite often, so maybe because people don't use hankies that often. But anyway, hadha mindilun, this is a handkerchief. Number 9, ahadha waladun, is this a boy? Naam, yes. So is this a boy? Yes, yes, this is a boy in other words. And our last and final one of this exercise over here is number 10, and it says, Man hadha, who is this? And the reply given is hadha rajulun. Obviously, here's another typo. There's supposed to be a space between the alif and the ra. It's not hadha rajul or something of the sort like this. The space is missing, but it's supposed to be hadha rajulun. Man hadha? Hadha rajulun. Who is this? This is a man. And that's the end of page 11. And it is officially the end of lesson number 1. So therefore you see the next lesson, page 12, begins on this point here. Ad-darsu thaniyu, the second lesson. But that, like I say, we will do next week, inshallah. We did very little new tonight. We did very little actually, in fact, tonight, but it was just a completion and summarization of what we had previously learned. As you can see, everything which was here, we learned it, we implemented it, we tested ourselves on it, and by now, everything which was done, it was simple, it was straightforward. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages in total, which was the sum total of one single lesson. So by now, if there's anything, okay, question over here, would you recommend we should get a copy of this book? I would definitely recommend it. Whether you have a hard copy or you download it from the internet, a PDF copy, it's entirely up to you. There's no problem with it. But you know, it's something I would definitely recommend, because you know, sometimes it's easier for you to work if you actually have a book rather than having to wait on the class when I'm sharing the screen and now you are looking, oh okay, here's the book now. Now, when you want to check something up, you don't have the book to be able to check it. So therefore, I would definitely advise it, at least I should say. You can go to Google and just type in Medina Arabic course, just like this, Medina Arabic course, and you'll probably find a number of websites that have it. For example, you can just look on the document here itself. You'll see fatwaonline.com, fatwa.com, and I mean, you can download it. I could post it here in the chat as well, but this is for anybody who's not present and who happen to be listening online on YouTube, and you are wanting to know. Obviously, since you're not in the class, you won't get the PDF of the book, so therefore it's easier for me to just say, go Google, type in Medina Arabic course books. It brings you up the download links for book 1, 2, 3. It will bring up the English key, the Urdu key, the every other thing that you can get it in all the various languages. I mean, you got many things that can come up online, all available for you. So it's definitely something I would say, if you're doing any book, even if you're doing schoolwork, you need to have a copy of the book that you are doing. So this is no exception to that rule. Get yourself a copy of the book so that when you are doing your own revision, you have access to the book. You can follow it up. Maybe you find a different copy of the book. If you happen to buy it in the shops, you may end up with a newer version. Newer prints of this book comes with color pictures and stuff like this here. Certain typos have been corrected, all stuff of the sort like that. So, you know, whether it's an old copy, a new copy, whatever the case may be, hard copy, soft copy, it makes no difference as long as you have access to the book. That's all that really matters in the long run. So, like I say, we focused on the usage of the word hada. We learned how to say ma hada, what is this, and man hada. That's the crux of the lesson that we have learned thus far. Everything else has been expounding upon this very same basis. And lesson 2, it just expounds a bit further. We expand our ability to use the language from just speaking about this to now be able to speak about that as well. But anyway, we leave that as forthcoming attractions. For now, we stick on what we have done in the lesson so far. And like I say, if you have been unable to ignore what I had read of these exercises here, these 10 sentences. Look at it yourself. See if you are able to read it without listening to myself by reading it out. If you are able to read these words and understand it and able to translate it, then you know this is your own self test, and you know that you are up to date with the class. And it's something I would advise each and every person to do. I always advise it because I've taught this kitab for a number of years, and I always give this advice. Don't hold back if there is something you don't understand. No matter how silly you may think the question may be, it may not be as silly as you think. It may be something quite good and an important question. So ask and ask and ask again, because you, as you notice, we learned something immediately. It was brought into practice. If you didn't understand it and we moved on, you'll be uh, incapacitated as we go further, and then you end up dropping out. So we don't want that to happen. So ask the questions as many times as you want to, be it here in the class, be it on WhatsApp to me privately afterwards. It's entirely up to you. But the thing is, don't hold back when you have something that you are not clear about. Ask the questions so that you can be satisfied with the answers and you know that you have understood everything. Once that has happened, then you know you're good here. We can move on to the next lesson. Otherwise, like I say, you end up losing out, and then you feel you feel disheartened when it's like we're moving at such a fast pace now. Now we're moving 2-3 pages at a time, and you start struggling to keep up beyond the first page. You pick up certain things here and there, but you flounder. Then you say it becomes a burden. It no longer becomes something interesting to look forward to. It becomes a burden. We got Arabic again. I don't understand anything. I didn't understand anything for the last 3 weeks. We don't want that to happen. So I say it again, I emphasize it again. Ask the questions. I have no problem answering 100 questions also. It's not a problem at all. If you need it explained in multiple ways, if I must explain it in Japanese also, I don't mind explaining the lesson over in Japanese if it means that you are going to be able to understand the lesson. Because at the end of the day, what we are wanting is the ability to understand. That's all. So that being that, we have not received any questions. So we will stop on this point here, inshallah. Next week, like I say, we continue onwards from page number 12. So if you do happen to have the book, you can if your numbering of the print happen to be different, then you can just turn to Ad-Darsu Thaniyu, the second lesson. Like I say, I'll explain why I'm reading things a certain way, all in next week's class, inshallah. But until then, we will end for now. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.